In this video, I'm going to be talking about chicken fencing and which one you should choose and what's best for you. And stay tuned till the end because I'll also go through some extra chicken fencing considerations. All right, without further ado, let's get into it. So before I begin, I will say each one I go through, I will link to a product in the YouTube description. And there, if you want to buy them, you can just click on the link in the description. All right, so choosing your chicken's fencing is not to be taken lightly. It should last for a long time and protect your chickens from wandering and the many predators in your yard in the outside world. When you select your chicken fencing, there are a few things you should take into consideration to make sure your new fence is serving its purpose. Now, ask yourself the following questions. Will the fencing keep my chickens in? Will it keep local predators out? How long will it last? Or is it temporary? How will the fencing incorporate into my current chicken coop build? All right, let's take a look at some of the most commonly used fencing options. So the first one, chicken fencing or chicken wire. If it's not broken, don't fix it. Chicken wire or poultry netting has been around for ages, and that's because it works. It's made from galvanized steel and is braided into all those all too familiar hexagonal gaps. You may look at the chicken wire and think, that's a little flimsy looking. But the sturdiness of your fencing has a lot more to do with the frame you use rather than the fencing itself. I like chicken wire because it's lightweight and easy to move about if needed. The small openings in good old chicken wire are too small for most chicken predators to sneak into and too small for your chooks to squeeze out of. The price point for this classic chicken fence has been and probably always will be quite reasonable. The second one on this list is hardware cloth, or also known as rabbit cage wire. If you want to up your predator proofing game a notch, then nix the chicken wire and go for the hardware cloth. It's just another name for your typical rabbit type fencing. Usually, hardware cloth is galvanized stainless steel welded wire that is just a tiny bit thicker than regular chicken wire. Instead of the regular hexagons, hardware cloth is typically shaped as squares or rectangles. Because hardware cloth is a bit strong and usually you can opt for smaller holes, small predators will have difficulty entering your coop or grabbing through the wire and pulling out their meal. Many chicken lovers opt for hardware cloth over the classic poultry fencing because they can sleep better at night knowing their fencing is quite sturdy. One thing that we do for our coop is we actually use it underground for digging predators. So we will actually bury hardware cloth, which you can do, which is a great option. All right, the third one on this list is chain link chicken fencing. If you want something a little heftier because you have large predators in your area, like maybe a bear or a coyote or something, consider a chain link fence rather than chicken wire. Bears can actually rip down the thin poultry netting, but when faced with a thick chain link fence, they have a much harder time getting into your coop, and they'll probably give up a lot easier. A chain link fence will run you definitely a few more bucks than traditional poultry netting because of the sturdy quality materials used in its construction. Now, without being said though, if you have lots of hungry predators drooling over your chickens, it will be worth it. All right, the fourth one on this list is safety chicken fence. Safety fences are those flimsy fences you often see around construction sites or playgrounds. They're usually made of plastic with large holes in them. They're often blazing orange in color, but they come in earth tones. Some people get away with using safety fences for their chickens, but be warned, they do not hold up for very long and they are not effective for keeping predators out. If you are in a pinch and want to move your chooks to a specific area to hunt and peck for a while, this fencing might make for an excellent temporary containment system, but not much more than that. Let's just put it this way. If it's plastic, don't expect it to protect your chooks or keep them in. I've tried using this fence once and my hen started perching on it and eventually it sagged. All right, number 5 on this list. But before I get into number 5, please be sure to like the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also subscribe to our website, thehappychickencoop.com. If you subscribe using the link in the description, you'll receive a free ebook on the 10 best egg-laying chicken breeds. All right, number 5, electric poultry fencing. I'm a huge fan of electric fencing. Usually it's inexpensive and reliable. Most critters only need to get zapped once to know not to try it again. I have many friends who use electric fencing for their steers, and when they want to move them to fresh pasture, it takes a lot of coaxing to reassure them the fence has been moved. With chickens, however, electric fencing serves one primary purpose, and that is to keep predators out of your chicken run. Yes, your chickens will get zapped if they touch the fencing, and it will teach them to stay away, but more importantly, it keeps the mean weenies out. You can purchase electric poultry fencing that plugs in and into an outlet, or opt for a flashy solar-powered source for your fence. If you go with solar power, you can quickly move around the electric fence so your flock can feast on a fresh area of grass every single day. Now, a word of caution: if you have chickens known for their flying abilities, make sure your poultry fencing is tall enough to keep your aviators inside. All right, the last one on this list is aviary netting. Now, all this talk about predators and fencing capabilities, but no mention of those aerial predators like hawks and owls. Now, there is fencing to protect your flock from the top, and yes, this is the option that you will use. You've most likely seen this netting high above the animals at the zoo. Aviary netting is precisely what it sounds like. It's a fine net that protects its residents from aerial attacks and keeps birds of the flight contained. If you want to go all out in your run, add an aviary netting to ensure your chickens stay in and those hungry predators stay out. Aviary netting also works very well for quail. Now let's get into some extra chicken fencing considerations. The first extra pointer I want to give you is frame your fencing. As I talked about before, your actual fencing material is only as good as the frame you use to construct your coop. Use sturdy framing materials like wood to hold your fencing tightly, and anchor your fencing with strong corner posts that are deep underground so the tension of the fencing does not collapse your run. Number two, I did mention this about hardwood cloth. Number two is bury your fencing. Now, make sure not only to bury your corner posts, but also the fencing itself. Digging predators can dig under and squeeze under most above ground fencing. So, make sure you are keeping out the coyotes and foxes. Bury your fence about 6 inches underground. Number three, maintain and upgrade your fencing. You should always check fencing regularly for wear and tear. Determined predators can do a number on flimsy fencing, and you should repair any new openings immediately. If you can't afford some of the higher quality fencing mentioned in this video, start with what you can afford and upgrade as time goes on. Hey, maybe you can start saving by selling some of your fresh eggs. Now, with some tweaking and additions, most of these fencing options will work to keep your chickens safe. Now, some fences will definitely work better than others, and some will only last one season. So depending on your budget and local predators, and any of the fences I went through should allow you to sleep at night knowing your chickens are safe. If you like this video, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you learned something new, also share this video with your friends. And with that, I hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.